Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Simple Plays. My name is Brian Newdall, and I am filling in for Sid Thompson as the backup quarterback tonight. We're really excited to have you guys here tonight with us as we have our special guest, Matt Yoshis from Miami, Ohio University. He's the DFO. And with that, let's go to introductions to Mr. Rev.
Thank you, Brian. And tonight we want to welcome Coach Yoshis from Miami of Ohio, as well as tonight we're glad to have back our pro hosts coming to you live from West Haven by way of Michigan State, by way of Pittsburgh, by way of the Super Bowl, Mr. Ulish Booker, and by way of some of America's best barbecue. I don't know why I bring that up, but I do every time when I'm talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, the Jeff City Jays, the Missouri Tigers, our other pro host, Steve Martin. And tonight, from the islands far, far away, but coming to you live in your living room tonight, on your cell phone, on your iPad, our NFL coach, Randy Hanson. Tonight, we want to welcome our fantasy football guru, Jeremy Johnson, who's going to be laying down some bad game about your picks as well as some of your drafts. And we're going to have a draft coming up here before too long. We want to send our apologies out for not having Sid Hartman. I just said Sid Hartman here. Anyway, our Sid Thompson, not that Hartman, not that Sid. Okay. Anyway, for you Minneapolis folks, God rest him. Not our Sid. Sid's alive and kicking. I think tonight he's probably bored some people at some kind of, clinic for umpires or something like that. But anyway, we're really excited. We've got Coach Yoshis from Miami of Ohio. We got a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to our sponsors. We want to thank Spartan Global Network. We want to thank Global Sport Testing. We want to thank Bison Graphics. Everything you see on here, everything you hear on here is done through Bison Graphics. We also want to throw a shout out to Swag Rags, as well as Influence, our mentoring and training platform that we use for our coaches and players from ages youth all the way through retirement. Now that I've said all that, thank you all for joining us. Welcome to the Simple Play. Back at you, Brian.
Well, we're going to start off the Tonight Show talking about today in sports, and that's brought to you by Primetime Scouting. For all your scouting and scholarship needs, go check them out. I think the first topic we're going to probably talk about, how about Baker Mayfield? Week 1, starting against his former team, the Cleveland Browns. What say you, Steve Martin?
Well, I tell you that when you get to play your former team, that's always something special. His is real special because they're paying him for it. So, I mean, that's got to win, lose, or draw. He's going to have a great game, no matter what you say, because he's getting paid to play against his old people, and they're paying him to do it. Man, that's got to feel bittersweet. So, I can't wait to see it. I actually think Baker's in pretty good. So, he's this good year for him. It may be a Pro Bowl type year for him. We'll see. I shouldn't say Pro Bowl.
He will play the best game of his career. The best game by far.
I agree.
Period. No questions. He's coming out guns blazing. He's gonna sling that thing that night, boy.
So is that a spoiler for any fantasy? Week 1, start Baker Mayfield.
Well, if he's getting paid by both teams, if he throws a pick 6, does that count as a touchdown pass? I mean, I don't know.
That's a good point. you know, when you play your former team, and I've done it, like I played on 8 teams, so it happened for me a lot. But when you play them, man, you got a little extra salt in your wounds when you out there. Like, I'm going to stick it to them. And one of them, when I played in Houston, we had to play New England the next year, and they ran this wham play, and Christian Fourier was the tight end, and I knew the wham play, and because I knew it, ran it, I knocked him out. Because I turned right to him, I was like, "Oh, this is that wham play!" Bam, and I knocked him out. So, you know, it wasn't anything personal against him, but that's just how it goes. He's quarterback, so I'm not gonna be able to knock anybody out, but it is always a bittersweet.
He'll be ready. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's ready. There's no question about that.
Coach Hansen, what do you think?
He'll be fired up, ready to go on that game. He might have the best game of his career. He's gonna be. I tell you what, though, I like Sam Darnold too. If you could just give it the right team, I think getting the right system. But I think Baker Mayfield is in the perfect system for him right now. Well.
He might get his head knocked off, but he's gonna do the best Deshaun Watson impersonation, running and throwing. He is going for broke. If he don't play no other games for the rest of the season, he putting the stones on the line that night.
Well, as we hit the final week of the preseason, there's a debate whether to play your starters or whether to rest them. I know that about half the league is not starting their starters, and the other half is starting. What do you, Book and Steve and Coach Hansen, what do you guys remember about? Was there a need to start that final preseason or the third preseason game? Sorry, not the final one, but
it used to be the third preseason game. You wouldn't play anybody, but now they have 2 weeks to get ready for the. It just depends on the veteran. It depends on the player. If you're looking at he doesn't need to play, but you're looking at a player like maybe a Baker Mayfield, maybe he does. It depends on the player.
I totally agree with Coach. It's going to come down to the veteran leadership and guys being ready to go. From what I've seen, like for example, watching Pittsburgh and them, having a less veteran-oriented team or throwback veterans, if you will. It takes them a couple games to get started. I mean, to start firing on all 11 cylinders. But when you have veterans, like vets, they can go drinking the night before. Some of them can come to the game and play a Pro Bowl game. Those are old school vets that that understand accountability and the intangible things. Sometimes when you have younger guys, they don't embrace those intangible things until they begin to see the results of it. When you got older guys that have been there and done that, and they know what it is to be a true consummate professional, and the approach is much different, which justifies and makes sense for a team maybe not to start their starters this late or this early in the preseason, if you will, especially with having that 17th game. I mean, you can kind of afford to, if you go left in the first game, you got one in the back end to make up anyway.
And I've been in all the situations where you got a young team, you got an old team, you got a team in the middle. My rookie year, the veterans that we had the Hall of Fame games, so we had 5 preseason games. But depending on the team, depends upon how many preseason games you're going to play. But usually by that 4th game, or the last game, the starters play a series, and that was it. So you want a young defense. If you got a young defense, they're going to play. They're probably going to play a half, maybe 3/4. It all depends on where they are as far as are they ready or are they not. So.
Absolutely. Oh, Jeremy, you're muted.
We can't hear you, Jer. Go ahead and talk, Jer. You might just be delayed. No, you are off.
Well, speaking of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Book, what do you think of some of the really young guys? And I know we kind of talked about the quarterbacks before, but you look at George Pickens in the preseason and the hype that he's getting. There's a couple other guys. What do you think about that, Book?
I mean, I'm looking at the speed of the wide receiving core, and they may have something special. The only gray area and questionable, and you all know what I'm getting ready to say, is that daggone quarterback spot. What's going to happen there? And if it gets too bad, I think Pittsburgh, they're definitely going to be watching on the waiver wire to see who's available. And it just depends on. I mean, we know who Mitchell Trubisky is. It just depends on what Kenny Pickett is or who we believe him to be. If he catches on quick, Mitchell Trubisky will be he'll be an afterthought. But if he stalls out, we'll see some new blood in there.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh's a mystery team this year. Pittsburgh's always good. They're going to find a way to be around 500, I think, one way or the other. But they could be really good, or they could be 500.
Now Najee Harris might have 1,000 carries by week 8, but they're gonna be okay one way or the other.
Yeah,
I was gonna say the defense should be fantastic. I mean, they got a lot of guys coming back, and looks like they're primed and ready to go. So, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I would say that when it comes to the preseason, I mean, I've again been in all those wonderful spots where it looks like you're going to be good, and the season starts, and you can break it up into quarters. Sometimes you come out and you're on fire, and those are the best years. When you come out and you're flat, oh man, it's a tough one, especially when it's peaks and valleys. When you 1 year, I think it was second year, we lost we lost 5 games in like the first half of the season, but they were all losses under like 3 points. So literally you're looking at the film and you're like, hell, it's just 1 or 2 plays and we win. And man, them some tough years, bro. So I don't get excited about preseason. Yeah, I like to see some good things. Yeah, you like to see a good showing, but man, you just never know what's going to happen until that first whistle blows.
We don't have that problem in Pittsburgh, so you must be talking about all the other 31, 32, 30 teams or whatever.
I don't know. Baltimore. How many games has Baltimore won in a row? 22?
22 or 23 straight preseason games. Baltimore. You know who looks good in preseason right now? Look good in preseason. Now they'll lay an egg in the regular season, but they look great right now.
That's what I'm saying. Is that too many times come out the shot and team look good in the preseason before they get to their first 3-4 weeks? Man.
Speaking of Baltimore, are they going to pay this? Are they going to pay number 8, Lamar?
They better.
Yeah.
They should.
They would have already done it. They would have already done it. It would have already been done.
Now you
They're
still got a couple days.
He doesn't have an agent. He's represented himself, so that could be the hookup too.
That ain't looking good. That's not a good.
They might have to put a mortgage on the stadium. I don't know.
Well, they better get the call on Dan Gilbert and Rocket Mortgage because they need it.
Yeah, they said he's throwing the ball better than he ever has. They said he's having a great game.
They need it, bro, because he wanted all guaranteed. That's the issue right now. And if they do that, it's gonna set a precedent across the league.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking. I mean, if it doesn't get done before the start of the season, it's looking like franchise tag. I mean, we'll see, but
they'll save
Oh,
some
he's-
money going franchising.
He's not getting a fully guaranteed contract in the National Football League. No way. Not this year.
You never know.
I don't know. I kind of feel like they're going to go a different route. I think they're going to do a franchise tag. They don't need to do anything right now. But then again,
Yeah, he gets injured. You can't wait on you to see the same risk.
exactly.
Yeah, the injury bug when it strikes, man, it's a mother.
Yeah.
Teams go from being sunshine. Happens all the time. That one guy. Hell, how many teams go down when just the left tackle goes down?
Exactly.
That's everybody thinks about the quarterback, but hell, the way he's able to get that ball off is he's got a good left tackle. That guy goes down, shit. Now your pass game goes to shit. Run game struggles because now they know you're going to run. There's a lot. So by all means, have the nice, warm, fuzzy feelings about what your team is doing and whatnot. But I would say for your fantasy folks, don't set your watch on what you're watching in the preseason. Definitely look and see what they're doing good. But
It's definitely true.
hold back. Don't get too excited.
All right. Well, let's take a break here, and then we'll go to Jeremy with our fantasy segment.
Alrighty.
Spartan Global Network, a platform that will provide various types of useful lifestyle products and services that will help people in need. Spartan Global Network, in conjunction with Affinity Consumer Alliance, presents an online subscription-based platform that's bundle inclusive, based on level selection. Spartan Global Network provides access to unique insurance coverages for you and your family. Mobile phone breaks down? Our mobile rescue plan covers more than 15 common repairs and even water damage maintenance. Car broke down while on the road? We offer 24-hour roadside assistance to make sure that you are safe and covered in the event of an emergency while on the road. Going for travel? We are able to offer our members discounts on flights, hotels, rental cars, vacation packages, cruises, and more. So, what are you waiting for? Visit our website for more info at SpartanGlobalNetwork.com.
All right. Welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
We're going to get to Jeremy. Jeremy, what fantasy advice do you have for us this week?
Well, this week I was going to talk to you guys about the handcuffs at running back. With situations where you want to grab that backup running back in case number one the number one guy goes down, but you got situations in Green Bay with Aaron Jones, and then AJ Dillon's been up and coming. I also look at like Jacksonville's running back James Robinson has been pretty solid his first couple of years, but they've got the big rookie workhorse ETN coming off an injury. But it seems like more and more, if you can't get one of those top 5 guys like your Dalvin Cooks, your McCaffreys, and when I mentioned McCaffrey, Chuba Hubbard's a guy that put up some good numbers in his time that he got last year. So there's just a lot of running back situations I'm looking at. And then, of course, you guys mentioned earlier that the preseason could be fool's gold for fantasy. You still want to keep your eye on guys like Tyler Johnson, Julio Jones, and the kind of reps and where they're fitting in Tampa. Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, 2 rookies that are looking to step into Devontae Adams' shoes and fill those. So, there's a lot to kind of still pay attention to. As you guys mentioned, our draft, we're actually going to have ours on Monday. And if you guys haven't signed up, get signed up. But, it'll be fun to kind of see how things shake out. I actually haven't had any drafts myself yet. First person to kind of see how the board's fallen. But, you can always go on to your ESPN.coms or Yahoo Sports, whatever your favorite site is. Type in mock draft and, find those guys who are kind of climbing the charts and some that are falling.
Jeremy, who is a few of your big sleepers this year? Give me three. Give me three of your biggest sleepers you think are going to be for fantasy this year.
Number one, I really like Rondale Moore in Arizona. He was a rookie last year. Hopkins missed time. They had AJ Green. This year, Hopkins is also going to miss a little bit of time. So Rondale Moore is someone who I call him a sleeper, but he's a guy who could, help bridge a gap. If you do have, we spoke of handcuffs, getting that backup running back. In this situation, for anyone who drafts DeAndre Hopkins in the first, 2-3 rounds, might want to grab Rondale Moore. So I really like him. I also like in Buffalo, Gabriel Davis. There's one of two different ways you can look at him. He did have a 4-touchdown game last year in the playoffs. So, that's going to bring a lot of eyes to him. But I think Josh Allen is still – he hasn't hit his full potential and what he can do on a consistent basis, I'll say. There's no question that he can do everything. But he's – Josh Allen's arguably the first quarterback taken off the boards. So when you have those stud quarterbacks, look deep at those receiving cores for those respective teams. Diggs is going to do his thing, but I think Gabriel Davis is number 2 on my list of sleepers. And number 3, another guy that I like, actually out of Tampa. This is a deep sleeper, but I really like Rashard White. He's a rookie. Of course, they've got Fournette. Last year, they plugged and played a few other guys, Bell and others. But I think that he's a guy that you could take him with your last pick and stash him and just kind of see how those first few weeks unfold and how much usage he gets.
Yeah, that fits into your handcuff. Definitely. Out of all the elite, I know you just got done talking about elite quarterbacks and kind of the top of the barrel. Why do you see Patrick Mahomes taking a step back without Tyreek Hill? Even though they did add quite a bit definitely added Valdez-Scantling, they added Juju, they Sky Moore they drafted.
Yep. No, and that's a good question. He's Patrick Mahomes.
Brian, you're gonna get beat up if you talk like that right here.
No. I would say his stock isn't falling. He's still Patrick Mahomes. So when he had guys like Byron Pringle and Mecole Hardman and things like that, those aren't sustainable wide receiver names in the fantasy world. But my point being to bring in a Juju, Sky Moore is a guy that they're really high on as a rookie, and the threat of his running game. Like he's going to run 5, 6, 7 touchdowns in this season. So his stock isn't falling. I just think Allen and Justin Herbert they're getting their second, third years in the league, and they're probably just and they're young too. So not that Patrick's getting up there in age or anything, but yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes is still going to have a solid year despite losing Tyreek. I think Travis Kelce is going to have a monster year.
I think
Derek Carr.
Go ahead, Coach.
Derek Carr.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, what do you think of Derek Carr? Can you hear me?
I
I
lost
didn't
it.
get that, Coach.
So what do you think about Derek Carr?
Derek Carr.
Oh, Derek Carr? Man.
Yeah, Derek Carr.
I would say most of the time a team that's getting a Devontae Adams in that deal, I'd be like, watch out for, Devontae's probably going to go down a little bit. But Derek Carr and Devontae have a long history. They were college teammates at Fresno. And I think Derek Carr has done a lot with limited options. So to give him that
Real number one.
I feel like they've never really given him the keys to the car and let him do whatever. Now they're bringing in these modifications. So, don't forget Darren Waller. Yeah, Darren Waller. And I'm not really sold on their running game. So I think Derek Carr is probably going to put up one of his best fantasy years.
I mean, they went to the playoffs with a substitute coach.
This is true.
That's got to count for something. I mean,
They was dragged through the media the whole year, and they still wound up in the playoffs. They got a team.
Yeah,
and look,
they got.
I don't like nothing about the Raiders. They got a team.
Yeah, they got. Yeah, Steve. I was saying the same thing. This year, they got a squad.
It's hard to believe that they went through all the adversity they went through. When you think of Ruggs, the Gruden, coming off the tails of the Gruden incident or firing and everything, it's like, for them to make the playoffs is one thing. From the fantasy standpoint, hey, I want to see, what number 8 can do with a full season of Devontae Adams on his right-hand side.
See, and I'm telling you, look, I was with Randy, and having that deep threat is everything. When I say everything, if you got anything that pulls those safeties deeper, everything underneath opens up. So
Darren Waller missed a lot of time last year. So Adams, Waller,
Renfro.
Let's not forget about Hunter Renfro and the season he had last year. He was phenomenal. Talk about a sleeper last year. Anyone who picked Hunter Renfro last year probably made a nice little run in their fantasy playoffs.
Would you agree, though, Coach Hansen? He's more of a slot receiver, though.
Well, yeah, here's Renfro, Steve Largent type of guy. You know what I mean? He's a slot receiver, but he can play all the positions. But he's primarily, I would say, he's not gonna, threat anybody. He's gonna make some catches and get some first downs. He's gonna be your third down guy, basically.
I was gonna say he's a chain mover.
Yeah, he's a chain mover. That's what he is.
Who's
you
saying that? Adams gonna be that?
No, Hunter Renfro. Adams is gonna get the double coverage.
Adams just
look, and this is the other thing. Adams may not have those wonderful fantasy numbers, but as long as that offense has those numbers, that's your win. So,
That's true.
Because they tried to lowball Randy when he became a free agent or when he was going to free agency because his number wasn't as high. But it's like, did you see what he did? He drew double coverage. Because he's drawn double coverage, like I said, that's the only reason the other receivers. You wouldn't have knew the other receivers if it wasn't for that deep threat. So that deep threat is huge.
If that deep threat, you need two guys to cover that deep safeties. Guess what? If you run the ball all day long, if he's taking two guys with him, run the ball.
It's gonna be nice and soft. That front seven gonna be nice and soft.
Well, the backers got to back up to 6 yards as opposed to playing at 5, because they got to do something. Because that one dude stretches that. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Hunter Renfro going like this.
I'm telling you, it was the most amazing thing I ever saw. When I saw, people used to talk so much trash about it. They was just dogging Randy in the media, saying he didn't practice or do all this other stuff. And I'm just like, well, maybe he don't. And then we played those 2 games where he just blew the doors off the defense. All I can say was, I don't give a shit if he does practice. I don't give a
Dallas
shit.
Cowboys Thanksgiving.
I didn't care.
Hey, we used to tell Randy because we used to tell Randy, just if you're tired, just stand there and don't even move. We told him to do that. TV for being lazy. we told him to take a break because we were going to run him deep in a couple plays. We already knew he had one guy on him and one guy deep, and he just stood there on the and we ran the ball away. He blocked two guys.
So you're saying I play when I want to play was I play when I want to play, but when my coaches tell me to take a break, then I'm not going to play.
I mean,
because he running deep routes all the time, man. He was getting tired, but he didn't. He was going to take two guys. We could run. We led the NFL in rushing in 2003 because of Randy Moss. He never blocked anybody. He just stood there. Yeah.
And by doing that, he took all the media attention off everything else.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
But that's literally what I see in Devontae Adams is that threat, because he was so explosive in Green Bay, and it was amazing that they didn't really double cover him like Randy. They didn't treat him that way. But if you don't treat him that way, he's going to have 14,000 yards in 6 games.
14,001, you mean?
Yeah. He might get 14.5.
I'm telling you got it. That threat, man. You watch the film and you sit there and look at stuff. It's like, man, if we had that kind of a threat, and again, it's just putting fear in the defensive coordinator's heart. That's what you're trying to do.
Hey, Steve, I was just thinking that. I said, you know them cocky D coordinators. Yeah, we're gonna make them earn every last one of them yards.
Yeah,
all 300.
Yeah, all 350 by half.
Yeah, but
I was gonna say that whole AFC West is going to be a nightmare for defensive coordinators, because I think Jeremy would agree from a fantasy standpoint, every team in that division is loaded.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Justin Herbert's peaking. Mahomes is Mahomes. I mean, we talked about Carr, but we got to say his name. Russell Wilson in Denver. I mean,
legit.
I really like Jerry Jeudy this year.
But he don't have that line, though.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Javonte Williams is another guy that I really like out of Denver, running back that was splitting carries with Melvin Gordon. So I'll tell you this, points will be scored in the AFC West.
I think Kansas City finishes third this year in the AFC West.
You know what? Go eat it.
They might finish third. They might finish third. They'd still make the wild card, and they'd probably still make a run.
Kansas City's too deep. They're deep.
That's the thing I would say about
the quarterback is broke. The quarterback is damaged goods.
Who? You talking about Mahomes?
He ain't Patrick no more. He Pat Mahomes.
You know what? Shut up. See, you don't know.
Listen. Pat done had his ding dong knocked in the dirt for the last couple years. Okay?
What?
All those injuries, they're gonna start catching up, Steve. You know that. Why you acting dumb?
That dude he bathes in avocado juice. I mean, what are you talking about?
When he get the snot and the avocado juice knocked out of him, you know that look he has when he ain't right. You be looking like he just woke up. Yeah, okay.
Look, they got the thing the Chiefs did is they got deep. They went and got a bench. Their bench would start on other teams. That's what the Chiefs did, which was very wise.
Did they keep Jerick McKinnon? Did they keep Jerick McKinnon?
Yes, he's still on the team.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't gonna be able to answer the direct process.
He'll do all that stuff if the referees let the O-line get away with holding like they do every goddamn.
Here's the one thing I will say: one of these receivers has to emerge as a deep threat. If he don't get that deep threat, people are gonna choke up, and then it's gonna make his life hard.
Those guys don't grow on trees, though. They don't grow.
No, they don't. They're rare.
They already have him. Hardman is that deep threat.
He is a deep threat, but can he do it like Cheetah?
That's the question. That's the measuring stick right there. If he
unfortunately, yes.
that timing is everything. If him and Mahomes can't get that timing down, and if Mahomes get knocked in the head in between them getting that timing down.
Hold on. Fall back, because you understand what Mahomes had with Cheetah was when he go to his Bible study, he could say, I'm giving this to God. And that's what he would do on 3rd and 39 is he just lay back and say, Jesus, take the wheel. And
God's hands.
And that's where Cheetah would come in and, you know, save the day. Because I can show you five or six of them bombs that there was no way he knew where Cheetah was going to be. He just threw it up there and prayed. So that's an advantage you can have when you've got that kind of speed and that kind of ability at that position. So, you know, if you got to throw a dime, I mean, that's everybody. Everybody got to throw a dime. But you got to have that receiver that you can just throw it up there and just say, I know he's around 15, 20 yards somewhere. He's going to get this. And that's what you get with that kind of superstar receiver. So I ain't going to say they're going to finish third. It's just going to be a bar fight. It ain't going to be they ain't going to just run over the Raiders. It's not going to happen. It's going to be a fight every single play. Every play. They're going to fight.
Hey, Rev.
I don't
the
think
Father,
so.
the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
And now we're evoking the Trinity on some Kansas City Chiefs. I think that what you have is you've got 8 games. Those first 8 games are AFC West games. They're played in the heat, and it's kind of like Miami. If you're going to play Miami, you want them late in the year. You want it October 22nd, little bit of rain. When it's not sweltering hot, you go outside, you're soaking wet. Miami, you don't want to play Miami in September, not early, but Miami wants you there because they're ready for you. The game's set up that way. So I think the first 8 games is big for the AFC West.
You don't want to play Green Bay in December either. You know?
It literally is like Buffalo. Yes. You want Buffalo in September. You want Miami in December. Maybe
you won't play Buffalo in May.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a certain quarterback in Miami. You mentioned Miami, who I'm really high on for fantasy this year. I don't want to say his name out loud in case someone is paying attention and I'm going to write it down. But I think that Miami offense is going to explode when you bring in a guy like Hill and you had Waddle and a great tight end already. So watch out, Miami.
I don't know if he can get it there because Cheetah is quick as hell. And can he get it out there 60 yards? That's my question.
We'll find soon enough. Find out soon enough.
I think that he can, but the injuries that he's had is starting to catch up to him. I mean, he's had some pretty bad injuries already.
Career.
I had him as a 5th rounder coming out. I had him that's what I thought. He got drafted in the first round, but I thought he was 5th round talent.
Hey, let's talk about a real squad. How about the Dallas Cowboys? Nobody ever wants to talk about them on this show. Everybody's eyes are like, why? Why bring it up? Hey, let's put it in your hands of the Dallas Cowboys. You'd have played for them. I think Steve would have played for them.
I love Zeke Elliott.
I'd have played for him. Yeah. Hey, there's been a lot of talk about Zeke Elliott out there.
I love Zeke.
He says he loves him. Are we seeing the plateau and now maybe the a little bit of the downhill slide?
Zeke's he's the second best running back in Dallas. Let's be honest.
Whoa.
Do you remember a guy that everybody wrote off? He played for the New York Jets. His name is Curtis Martin. That's kind of how I view. That's a lot to live up to for Zeke, but Curtis Martin all of a sudden exploded when he was supposed to be headed downhill. You just never know.
Here's what I want to know. Jeremy brings up the second best running back in Dallas. The only one that shakes their head yes is Eulish. Now, I don't know if he's saying, man, that was a great sandwich I just ate, or if he's agreeing with Jeremy that, yes, I got the big tip on the fact that he's the second best running back in Dallas.
He's definitely the second best running back in Dallas. Zeke is beat up. Zeke has taken a lot of wear and tear over the years, even from Ohio State, even in Dallas. And their offensive line is caveman, prehistoric, and they didn't upgrade. The head guy. I mean, we all know that Dallas is gonna have a nice seat in the shitter, okay? And they're gonna wait for Sean Payton. They're gonna fire McCarthy and bring in Sean Payton. We know that that's the script. We already know it.
You know the problem with Dallas ain't got nothing to do with the players, ain't got nothing to do with the coaches. It's the owner. Period. That's the problem in Dallas.
He's gonna bring Sean Payton in because he trusts him.
Sean ain't gonna take that job. He don't want that job. They don't want that. Jerry, fuck it. Look, we're going back to '96.
We've been hearing about Sean Payton for 10 years in Dallas.
When he came out of the press box, because that I ain't gonna tell the story, but when he came out of the press box and started sitting on the damn sideline, that's when the team went to shit, because he started micromanaging, and he's not that guy, and he's the cancer in that. They got the best squad they've had since their Super Bowl year. This is the best squad they got. They got no excuse at this point.
You think
unless
so?
Jerry interfered.
Defensively, no way. No way.
What do you mean?
We're looking at NFC East, and I know we'll get Jeremy back on here in a minute. Hey, I still can't get used to Commanders. I'm still HTTR. That's just the way it is. But the other is this. I mean, you've got Philly. Philly only plays good up until about week 6. And then, the injury bug or Gino's Philly steak start kicking in. I don't know. But it's usually about week 6.
Well, Philly is stacked, man. They are stacked. They are stacked at that wide receiver position.
On paper.
Huh?
On paper.
There's rumblings that they may upgrade the running back position, and if Kareem Hunt were to become available by way of trade or release, I don't know. But if Kareem Hunt ended up as your main ball carrier, and then you've got Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert at tight end, gotta respect the tight ends, especially those top ones in fantasy, and AJ Brown. Yeah, I think they might give Dallas a run once or twice.
The Giants.
Right over them.
Watch out for the Giants. They're the sleeper team. The New York Giants are.
Is Coach the Giants is a sleeper right now?
The Giants, New York Giants are a sleeper team. Watch out for them. They could be a team that can make a move in the NFC.
I see that, Coach. I see that.
No.
Nobody has asked if Zeke is the number 2 rusher in Dallas. Who's the number 1 rusher?
Tony Pollard.
TP, baby.
Tony Pollard.
You
And I ain't talking about toilet paper.
They were splitting carries down the run last year when Zeke was healthy.
True. It's true.
Please let Zeke fall. I'll take him. I'll take him later. Let him fall.
Zeke is old. Zeke is beat up, and Zeke is I think too. I agree with
Zeke on the board. I'm still taking it. Final answer. Zeke's on the board. I'm still taking it. Final answer. That's it.
Fair enough.
It's like taking Lassie in his last days.
I'd take Christian Okoye too. Give me Christian at 2 yards.
Very word.
Very word. Yeah, very word.
Very word.
Yeah. Mm.
But it doesn't get better than Leroy Horde, right? I mean,
Leroy Ford.
We need 3 yards. I got you.
Yep.
Oh, it's
That's taking it back.
3rd and 31. Although he did have that nice conversion in Dallas, I'll say. I want to say it was like 3rd and 35. Perhaps it was a screen, though, not a run.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a draw. But anyway, regardless, it's the only run where I see Leroy Horde on 3rd and 35 getting the ball and converting. It was amazing.
Yeah, I always felt the most under thought about Minnesota running backs was Terry Allen, and I liked him when he was in Washington, and I thought he had some really good games as a Viking too. Pretty good season.
Yeah. Darren Nelson, remember him?
Oh yeah,
Darren Nelson.
See, now we're starting to go the route of, do we go to the Herschel Walker deal where Darren Nelson was a part of it and the 15 for 1? I mean, I'm a little bitter about that.
You know, I think everybody in Minnesota needs to take a deep breath about that, because when you think about it, if it wasn't for Minnesota, Dallas really doesn't have the stack to go into the 92, 93, 90. And listen, the 95 Super Bowl, I grew up a Cowboys fan because I wanted to be Tony Dorsett, obviously. Every kid. I get it. No. All right. But anyway, the idea here is you end up with this final kind of answer of where are these guys going to be at? You're like, all right, that's where they're going to be.
Yeah, I'll never forget that first game though. Herschel, it was probably Herschel's best game as a Viking, playing against Green Bay mid-October, losing a shoe on a carry and still running for 52 yards.
That wasn't the worst trade in Minnesota Viking history, though. The Herschel Walker trade was the history was when they traded Randy Moss away. That was the worst trade.
Yeah, somewhere
Napoleon Harris is feeling disrespected, along with Troy Williamson.
Troy, there's a guy, when you talk about being able to take the top off of defense, go to second level, Troy had unbelievable speed. He had
could not adjust to the ball, though. We got to be able to get the ball. You got to be able to go get it, too. You can run past people. You got to be able to go get to it. He just couldn't do it.
And thank God for Travis Taylor that year, because that really, there was Nate Burleson, obviously, but I don't even call Nate Burleson anymore. He's Hollywood. He's kind of like the skinny man's version of Michael Strahan. That's right, Stray. I said skinny man's version.
Who was the other receiver we picked up from Seattle? I can't think of his name for it.
Oh, yeah, Corin
Patterson.
Robinson.
Hold on. Yes.
You remember who I'm talking about, right?
Hey, say it again, Jeremy.
Corin Robinson.
Corin Robinson had a great season for us.
Wasn't he from Chicago?
Well,
Green Bay, right?
No, that's
Green Bay for a while.
Marcus Robinson came from the Seahawks. You remember he got suspended for we picked him up, and then he played a year for us, had a great season for us, and then he went to Green Bay. That's who it was.
Yeah, he got pinched in training camp doing 110 through St. Peter. If you remember, that was training camp the next year after, the proverbial, they got rid of all the riffraff with the Mike Tice regime. And we're all sitting there like this the next year, like, that's pretty. I was over in River Falls, so I was listening to it and going, oh, he went how fast? And, St. Peter's 10 miles north of training camp, and I'm like, he was late. That whole corridor, Mankato, for those of you listening that don't know, where training camp was about 80 minutes away from Eden Prairie. And if you hit it at the right time, you could get there in literally like an hour. But if you hit it at the wrong time, it could be 2 hours. It's just the way that the corridor acts during training camp. And all the way back to Bud Grant. Bud Grant used to tell the guys, I've already called the highway patrol. You guys drive the speed limit. That was his way of keeping all the riffraff down. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. I got a speeding ticket on my way to training camp. So it was everybody. I mean, it happened. So I wasn't doing 110. Just so you know, I wasn't doing 110.
All right, guys, should we take a break and then we'll get to Where's Will along with our guest?
Sounds good.
Sweat. Caught in the relentless duel between staying active and struggling to stay fresh, we searched for a better alternative. The Swag Rag provides the perfect solution to sweat stains and embarrassing perspiration by revolutionizing the way we battle sweat. Gone are the days in which we were forced to carry around an unseemly rag to wipe away unwanted sweat. By introducing fashion-forward thinking to the world of wet resistance, we have created a smarter way to stay dry. The Swag Rag is made in America with hand-selected fabrics designed to be gentle on the skin but tough on sweat. By making it both trendy and convenient, we have bridged that embarrassing gap between looking good and staying prepared.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We're happy to have our guest, Matt Yoshis. And Matt, how are you this evening?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Great to have you here. Well, first off, can you tell everybody who you are and what exactly do you do at Miami, Ohio?
Matt Yoshis, at Miami University. Been in this season. Prior to that, I coached football over at Grand Valley, and I also before that for a guy by the name, and got him under Chuck Martin after Brian Kelly, and that's who I'm.
All right, and before we get into the big questions, how is your team going to look this year in MAC conference play?
Yeah, we got to get to the MAC 4 non-conference games. Some tough ones all weekend. So the shape we're in, once we get selected, top of the East. Whatever. We're selected for first. Doesn't mean a whole lot till you actually play. They are one of the few teams that returns a starting quarterback.
Coach, can we have you move your mic a little bit? You're breaking up.
Yep.
Is that better, guys?
I'm trying to adjust it. So, when's your first game, Coach?
So we're just finishing up now and getting into our game prep next week.
Yeah, I got none of that. Let's see. What has NIL done for Miami, Ohio, for you guys this year? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we haven't seen a ton of it. probably the guys have had the opportunity, you know, name out there, but there's not a monetary value in NIL right now.
How has it helped you in effective recruiting for you guys? The NIL, how's it affected your recruiting? Has it helped? Has it hurt? I mean, what's your take on that?
At our level, we're not. Our guys definitely want it. It just isn't something. A whole lot of guys are. We got a couple of guys who are there, but it's really just not we're running into like schools have seen.
Would you say the portal is probably has the portal affected you guys that much?
We took 11 guys total. We 3 starters, another 3 or 4 guys team. That's about average for us. You know, to lose about 5 a year. Different three starters to go. You know, so that affected what we were able to. Like I said, we took 11 guys, various levels, and you know, we'll see how they're all good players. Pick up a first-round draft picker.
So you think with the NIL in the future, do you see that as being something that's going to be beneficial to help you recruit?
Yeah, it should be. What we looked at is our recruit and not just of making some quick. We've started to set up just to work with these guys. We'd rather see them hire them to work at their company, give them $500. We'd rather see them with our alumni, and so we've been doing that. There's a couple of us who have been all in. They've started kind of a networking symposium, so that's what we've been doing. I'd love to see it grow, have it, bridge some of the guys who really need it, but at our level, we have some needs that aren't met with, and so to get ourselves to a Power 5 school, really help if we had guys some single year that or alumni want to put more money into. That would help. I think that overall the NIL is great. Kind of put your money where your mouth is. Guys who want to see their school do well, go for it. Put your what I've said.
Well, that's what we're here at Civil Playz trying to make sure we're bringing, turning the lights on for this NIL to be a healthy environment, because we see everybody talks about all the horror stories, but the college experience should be a great experience for all involved, and this should be something that should greatly empower players while they're playing, not just football but all sports. So that's what we're trying to do, is just bring a light to the subject, and talk to coaches like yourself and people that are in the know of what this is. What is it doing on all levels to all players and all parties involved? So, it's good to hear what you have to say about that. Brian, didn't we have? Are you okay?
Yeah, Coach. What makes Miami, Ohio different? Sorry, I'm trying to make it so we don't cut out quite as much. What makes Miami, Ohio different from other schools?
Yeah. So one thing about Miami is, fall, as long as just about it's been successful. History goes back to we Bank. The guys in our cradle of coaches. Zach's favorite guy, Beauchamp, the University of Michigan. There's just to have come through the program, but it's a great school. He was great. Graduated from any school. I didn't graduate from Miami. I've seen what so many of our alumni went from just being a little kind of the backwoods of all to a very, very prominent, across the country. Some of our, not just we recruit in football, but from out east, come from New York, come from overseas. So great, brand recognition, globe really, and the education process. I went to school and was primarily state. A few that was from the other side. It does help do different things when you meet new people and experiences from all over. I think it has, and our country now, and that's huge recruiting tool. Our guys come in, and guy who lives out in California, guy Florida, and so on.
All right, go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, how do you do with your ins? How is your are you guys getting a lot of guys from the in-state, or are you mostly out of state? How what is?
Where we're located, yes, we're in a stone from my backyard into we're close to Kentucky. We're closer to the border of closer than we are to Cleveland. Our in-state pretty much a 5 hour, and that puts us everywhere. St. Louis, Chicago, Detroit, Louisville, Lexington, within 5 hours. Now, when to Miami, we were on the longest streak in college football. One wanted to come play it. From Ohio, that knew, hey, go lose football game. We recruited a lot more on because they didn't know we go down to South Carolina. They school, but they didn't know how bad we. Since we've gotten better, lot more kids from the since kind of our home, and Columbus has Indianapolis has always been good for us from us, and then recruited state, and we got an Kentucky. It's just over the river.
All right. All the technical difficulties. Before we go, can you give us who is going to be the biggest surprise this year at Miami, Ohio?
Yeah, we I from so FCS school from Georgia, named he's been not a whole lot of other people who would recognize they're here coming from an FCS program. I definitely got a bit to come from smaller towns. So I'm looking for us. He's going to return kick. Real excited about him this year.
Well, Coach, we thank you for coming on this evening. I really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man trying to get ready for the season here. Thank you again for coming on. And with that,
Thanks, Coach.
Steve,
best of luck.
Yep, best of luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Take care, Coach.
And then, Steve, let's go to a commercial, and then we got Where's Will?
On August 2nd, I will be riding the vertical equivalent of Mount Everest to raise awareness for rare disease. My goal? To reach 29,032 people, to have them acknowledge those suffering in relative silence, to pledge $1 to the cause, and share this message. A rare disease is classified as any disease that affects less than 200,000 people in the world at any given time. This makes each rare disease an anomaly, meaning that they don't have the numbers for research, funding, and cures. These people and their families suffer every day, and no one is talking about it. That is what I want to change.
Welcome back, everyone. Will, how are you, sir?
I'm cold and I feel like I'm 95. I feel like I'm 95.
I feel like Will's invoking the spirit of football past. Are you in a seance, Will? What's going on here? I mean, we did all that sneaky Halloween stuff. It's August.
Hey, it's just a black hoodie. I'm just cold. Hey,
Yeah,
that's
but
what
you're in the
but you
dark,
know,
though,
that's
Will.
what the puffy jacket is for. That's
Exactly.
why it's never
Where's the
been
puffy
retired.
jacket?
I don't even know how to creep me out. So I was like, "Where's Will?" It looks like he's in a mortuary. So whatever.
No, but I celebrated 34 yesterday. Apparently, I'm the franchise according to Rev. So other than that, we had a preseason football game on Saturday, just kind of getting ready to prepare for a full season, tailgating and partying and having a good time. Week one for the NFL is in about 2+ weeks, but college football is on Saturday, so let's see what we got. So, hold on. You want me? Give me 1 minute.
He stepped away for a moment.
I just told him he had to turn his lights on. I mean, come on, we're live. We're on live TV, right, Will?
Hey, it's a lot of it's all about the mystery of where I'm at. I'm trying to make people guess.
Well, look, Will, you got to show everybody this shrine that you have.
Well, this is just a mini shrine, but
It's the Shrine starter kit.
It's a starter kit. I like that.
That's like Steve's one kit he has on. That's like a Mr. T starter kit. So you got the Man Cave starter kit while he's rocking the Mr. T starter kit. And let's not forget, Shid's got the he's got the bracelet, the matching bracelet with the necklace. Will, what you got for us tonight, man? What's going on? Preseason, tailgating.
Preseason we did a tailgate last week for the Vikings and the 49ers. A few people showed up. It was fun. Nothing too severe, no grilling or anything, but there was some nice drinking going on. There was some purple Kool-Aid that was made. But you know what? It's college football week, so
ooh.
That's right. Hey, you almost got Eulish to choke. He had to clear his throat. That's what I'm talking about. The big surprise. The big surprise right there. And hey, this means a lot because Will, what state are you from?
I'm from Omaha, Nebraska.
That's right, kids. There's another diehard Sooner fan in Nebraska. That's it.
Oh, that's going nuts.
Yeah, in the 90s, that'd have got your ass whooped.
He said the 90s.
You got your ass whooped going Omaha with that shit on.
Yeah, that's
I was
probably
a 90s kid. I grew up with like Pokemon and Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation. Growing out
in 3 national titles, if I recall.
Nebraska had 3 national titles. Yeah, Tommy Frazier,
everybody,
Lon Green, Grant Listrom, Black Shirts, pretty much Lawrence Phillips.
You got a nerve to have that OU shirt. I mean, I'm not even Nebraska.
That hat looks good on you, Will.
I hate them both. So.
Yeah, hey, that
was Missouri, so who cares?
Put on a little refresher kit. I need one of those. I need a little refresher kit for my.
Don't you got some OU shit?
Of course I do. I've got socks.
Okay, so, Will, answer me this question. Is the tailgating different in preseason than it is in regular season? It's a little lighter?
100%.
Really?
Absolutely, 100%. Because a lot of people aren't dressing up in their game day costumes. They're just going up like as a normal person. You won't see as many people dressed up in face paint or anything like that, or head to toe and like shoulder pads, boom shakalaka costumes. It's just regular person, maybe
they're just normal people going to a game, is what you're saying.
Correct.
But
versus on game day, you'll see people wearing helmets with spikes on them, full threaded face paint, various costumes.
Do you think there's a high level of drug use in that group of people? Can I say that?
You know, the thing is, when you're saying wearing shoulder pads and stuff, it only makes me think of one place, and that's the black hole.
People in Minnesota wear shoulder pads too.
Hey,
I was gonna say Legion of Doom.
But there's like 50 of them in the black hole at Oakland Coliseum. There's like 50 of them in there, and they're all pissed you're there because you aren't wearing their uniform.
They're all lawyers and doctors, by the way.
The only place where they won't be held for their crimes, the black hole, the abyss.
Or in Philadelphia.
Well,
hey, Philly's a whole different bird right there.
Philly's not the same. Philly is not the same. I will say this: when I was at the Chiefs and we beat them, we beat Oakland at Oakland. They rocked our buses while we were leaving.
It's true.
Literally, it was all the people from the Black Hole that came over and were rocking our buses back and forth. Police had to get them off.
That is hateful.
I got a great when in the Green Bay playoff game when Randy Moss caught the touchdown and he mooned the crowd. We played the Eagles, and that was a big, Randy mooning the crowd became a big national story. The following week, we were playing at Philadelphia in the divisional round of the playoffs, and our buses are stadium, and then all of a sudden, these people come from out of nowhere. I'm talking grandsons and fathers and wives. And entire families are lining as the Viking team buses roll into the stadium, and they're all mooning us. They all drop their pants.
Remember, we caught like 4 or 5 eggs. They threw eggs when we were coming off of the exit ramp, and then as soon as we turned down the main road there, everybody was mooning us from that corner all the way to the vet. I'll never forget that.
That was, we were just laughing our ass off, and here we were getting ready for a playoff game.
Hey, there is a difference between naked butts in Appleton, Green Bay, Wisconsin, and in Philly.
In Philly, it was grandmothers. It was nuns. There were nuns doing this.
Everybody, the whole city.
Everybody.
Sister Mary Catherine is dropping trowel.
Philly is different. Philly is different.
It is different.
Hey, I was in Philadelphia. I know that
all
makes
right, well,
turn my light off again and go back.
In case I ever have to be in Philadelphia again, I love y'all. Hey, keep on booing Santa Claus. Let's go Tug McGraw 1980s. I pulled that out just so that I'm down with the game. Vince Papali, Dick Vermeil just got his Hall of Fame ring. I'm down with y'all in Philly. Don't kill me, okay? That's all I want.
All right. Hey, Will, where might we see you next?
Either Lincoln for Nebraska, Oklahoma, or week 1, Green Bay at Minnesota. Because Lincoln is Oklahoma at Nebraska. That might be a college game day.
I've been waiting for a long time for this to be renewed. You can talk to all your friends in South Dakota because everybody in South Dakota are closet Nebraska fans, and they go hard, jackrabbits, coyotes until you get north of Pierre, and then somehow you get convoluted with the bison from North Dakota. Everybody's a cousin up there, but this is where it gets tricky right here. Calling them out. I think Oklahoma beats Nebraska by 2 touchdowns this weekend.
No, that's still like 4 weekends from. That's like 3 weeks from now. That's the 17th of September.
Right.
I think Nebraska's going to overseas against Northwestern this week.
Yeah, aren't they in Ireland?
Yeah.
You have some friends heading to that game.
Hey, good fish and chips, Guinness, golf links. You can't go wrong with that if you're going to that game. There's going to be a few Husker legends that are hosting like a big tailgate party in Ireland. Now, those people in Ireland can drink like nobody's business, from what I've been told. And apparently Steve can too, but anywho, that's a whole other story for another ball game.
All right, Will, it's thank you so much for coming on and gracing us with your presence, even though we had to get you to turn on the lights.
Boomer
Hey,
Sooner.
that's part of the mystery is, where am I? I have to keep it as mysterious as possible sometimes, you know?
Absolutely.
But
Steve,
anywho,
let's go.
Boomer Sooner to Rev, and I'll see you all later.
All right. Thanks, Will.
Take care, Will.
Steve, let's go to a commercial.
You know, I'm with you 100%, but that's the purpose of what we're trying to do, to bring us together to start talking the conversation so we make the conversation healthy. Look, we don't want all these agents and people that are just in here pariah just to feed off of the young when they come in. We don't want that. We want it so that, look, I got my sons, you got your kids that are going through this process. I don't want them to run into this thing and get chewed up like a buzz in the buzzsaw that happened to us when we came out of college. Because when you walk in the NFL, at least if you're 22, you got a chance. But when you're 18, holy hell. I couldn't even imagine having 500,000, 50,000, 20,000 going in. I lived off of $300 a month, and $200 was rent. So I couldn't even imagine having that kind of money that early in my career. It would be unbelievable to do this without some support. So we want to kind of put together this forum so we can have it so that we can put people at every school that can kind of mentor. And it's the alumni that's going to do it, because the alumni cares. They care about the school. I'm mad at the NCAA for what it's worth. I was mad when I was in college trying to, buy diapers for my son, and I go to Target and they got a jersey on sale, number 98. It didn't have my name on it, but everybody in Columbia knew who the hell number 98 was.
And that's the thing. We know it's a long time coming, and not just D1 guys, because if you play D2 or D3, you can take advantage of this as well. I want to stress that there is a lot of good things happen out there, and just because I'm a D3 student or a D2 athlete doesn't mean I can't work my butt off and get these NILs as well. That's, you look at the summit, I'm going to hopefully have on the king of the NIL and D3, as he calls himself, and the king in Norfolk State. He had 66 NIL deals because he worked. And you know what? I'm going to hire a guy like that because he worked his butt off. He's not a 5-star athlete. He's a Norfolk State. Threw his name out there, got many, many denials, and boom. Yep, that's the guy right there with Kareem Smith. He actually won an award at the NIL, so we'll hopefully get him on at some point. But going back now, we kind of digress with this, and that's the way I got to herd the kids.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, speaking of college football, as we get close to our last segment here, let's talk about opening week here in college football. What say you, Mr. Rev?
Well, I think just like everybody, the ones that have gone through the training camp, the fall camp process of college, high school, that this is like the worst week right now because you have almost another 3, 4, 5 days to prep. So you're right in the middle of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and you don't know if it's a light or a train coming right at you. Okay, that's what this week is in training camp. And you go from the 80 cuts down to the 53 that are coming up here in September. But in college, this is really where you are going to be the best, the healthiest you ever have been this week. After that, it's all about dealing with adversity. And I think that's where, the excitement of college football comes in. Here in South Dakota, it kicks off on Thursday. And we have what we call the Ag Bowl out here in the Midwest. And that's going to be interesting. I always say in a rivalry, you only have a rivalry if both teams beat each other. Otherwise, it's just it's a butt kicking every year for one team. And for us here in South Dakota, my alma mater's been getting the butt kicking for like the last decade. I think they've won maybe 1 or 2 of the Ag Bowls against their, rival Dakota State out of Madison. But here's what it means. You'll probably see the largest football crowd because you'll have the nicest weather. You'll have the best barbecue. This is the time of the year. It's football time, and like I said, if you're a player, you're wanting it to happen now. Get this week over with. If you're a coach, what you're praying is no distractions going into the week, that you've got your game so that you don't have the proverbial incarceration or baby mama drama or some of that. You're hoping that your coaches are all good. Everything's nice and copacetic, so that moving into this first week, you get that first win. And that first win is always the hardest because, hey, it means something. Like I said, everybody's optimal right now. So, yeah, here's what I mean about it's college football. It's pro football. It's this week is the hardest mentally, and yet it will be the best you'll feel physically. That's how I look at this week. And for those that are playing, congratulations. For those that'll be watching, just be safe. And for those of us that are prognosticating, try not to be too big of homers, which it's hard when you're doing this because, we all have favorites. So, and of course, you saw mine. Will was obviously sucking up to me. I don't know if he wants a raise or more screen time or what the deal is. Maybe he wants me to hook him up with Billy Sims down at Norman at Billy Sims Barbecue. That's who we need to get a sponsorship from. Billy Sims Barbecue.
He probably was torn between the toilet paper and finding that hat. The hat was the closest thing.
Well, this week for final thoughts, we're going to kind of talk about our college teams. And Coach Hansen, what do you think for final thoughts in your college team?
Well, my college team's always been. They have a new coach this year. They were supposed to be pretty good last year, kind of a bad season. I think the Huskies this year will be pretty tough for is Oregon. Oregon could upset Georgia in the opener. This is a team that can beat anybody, so I'd watch out for them.
All right, Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, Mizzou's got a great team. Probably one of the better teams they've had in a long time, in a few years here. A lot of young guys that hopefully will show up and do some things. My only concern is that it's tough ass division, and they gotta have to fight. So, if they can beat Arkansas, number one, and hold their own, and hopefully that'll keep them in the get them up into the top 25 if they can get there. I worry about situational, short yardage, 2 minute. I don't know. I haven't watched enough of them to really say that they're good or bad at that. I know that's what they were struggling with last year. So, we'll see. I mean, the best part about it is that, the part of the excitement of watching college football is you don't never know who's going to emerge. One day somebody just gets the scholarship, and the next day they're the best thing since sliced bread. We actually, my senior year, we played Marshall, and they had these two unbelievable guys that nobody know about them going into the game. It was Chad Pennington and Randy Moss, and they lit us up for 400 yards. They almost beat us.
Yep.
And they were Division II. So
I remember that.
You don't know. You never know. That's what makes college football fun, because a team like Marshall, who I'm telling you, we walked in the game thinking, okay, we're going to get through this one because we were worried about Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Colorado. We almost lost that game. because of those guys. So that's what makes college football fun.
All right, Mr. Book, what do you say?
Well, our $95 million man has got the boys ready, and we'll continue on with the relentless pursuit. We'll keep chopping because we're the real choppers. I don't know about that school in Piscataway, New Jersey, or wherever they're at. I think they're called Rutgers. Yeah, Rutgers. That's who they are. But at any rate, we're the real choppers, and we'll keep chopping. I think Coach Tucker has a team and the culture, more importantly, going in the right direction. I think just by his recruiting efforts this year and in the upcoming seasons, it's going to affect this year's team because guess what? Those 4- and 5-star guys that are coming in next year, this is your year to audition to keep your spot. And so as NIL and as opportunities develop throughout our league, seeing that the Big Ten has that $7 billion deal, things are going to start changing in the Big Ten. And so I think Michigan State is leading the pack as far as, outside of that school in Columbus. Michigan State is leading the pack when it comes to NIL and being creative and empowering their guys from the off-the-field standpoint. But I think as far as, our season opener, we got Western Michigan. They're coming to East Lansing. I think the guys will be ready. They'll be prepared, and we'll see what happens. We got some big shoes to fill at that running back spot as far as losing K9. But that's what it's all about. It's about reloading, keeping it moving forward. So go green, go white.
Yep. And anybody that knows me knows that I am a Iowa Hawkeyes guy. And I got to be honest that I'm a little worried this year because of our quarterback. He is not the greatest. I would like to see somebody else, to be honest with you. And I'm saying that live, so you can quote me now. But we do have the best tradition in college sports in Iowa. The wave.
I was for the wave. Who started the wave?
How much hate you're already getting. That's what I love. You're sentimental, but look, you already catching hate. They're all like, man, get your wave out of here.
What the hell? Everybody got the best tradition. Everybody say they got the best tradition. We got something to say we best tradition, but what? Like y'all don't have a tradition? That's what college football is. Being in college, that's what it is.
Is
the tradition is getting drunk and going to a party. What's that?
Is that what the wave was about? Steve, how could you be so heartless?
I know, right? He put it like this.
Gee whiz, man. They wait to the sick babies, man. You talking about get the hell out of here. Jeez, wow.
Dismissing. All right, yeah. Next.
We got to put you on the couch, Steve. We got to call Ayala. It's my life, bro.
I tell you, like my coach told me, where sympathy's at the dictionaries between shit and syphilis.
Oh,
jeez.
He said the wave that it was going to fall on deaf ears. Okay, I knew that. It's like giving an altar call too early in a church service. There's going to be a whole lot of people in there looking at you like, now isn't the time. I didn't hear B flat on the organ. That's what happened right there. So.
Hey, Brian, you got the wrong crowd, bro. You wanted a sympathetic response, wrong crowd.
Well, it is what it is, right?
All I got to say is James smiled at that cold-blooded answer Steve Martin gave. He gave a Rick James cold-blooded.
Yep.
Blooded. What more can I say? Sexy.
Now is when you cue the bumper music, because you got people just busting out into Rick James, and I mean, you get into Super Freak here in a minute. Then
with all the technical difficulties and whatnot, why not?
Right.
Why not? But with that, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, watching us live, and watching us in the replay. I'd like everybody to have a good rest of the week and enjoy your football games this week.
So long, everybody.